stickier side of life. The Todd Starnes Commentary.
Kathleen Sebelius, the Health and Human Services Secretary, deflected charges the Obama administration misled the American people, even though the Obama administration did, in fact, mislead the American people. Sebelius was on the hot seat in Washington. She says she's the one who should be held accountable for the troubles plaguing the Obamacare website. Also took blame for not telling the president his signature piece of legislation was not ready for prime time. In other words, Kathleen Sebelius decided to stand by her man, using nuance to wiggle out of the obvious. So allow me to use some nuance. I believe the Obama administration is absolutely right. President Obama did not break a promise. He outright lied. At Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee, I'm Todd Starnes.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. I'm going to get that one thing from Arnold Allard. By the way, that was on me, folks. I'm just trying to get more and more with an extraordinary guest. And I got to tell you, he is a great writer. And I will post that column up. A tremendous resource. I will say for this program, I know that other programs, well, I would suspect that a lot of programs use his material to get information because it's just that good. Arnold Allard. And we got to the military purge, and we're going to talk more about that with Bruce Thornton a little later on this week, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Gordon Kukulu, and that will be on Friday's show. Seton Motley also joins us Friday, fear not. Tomorrow, we'll be joined by Pastor Aaron Free. Of course, he is back. And our good friend Jerry Boyer will be with us. What about Woodward? Yeah, he's on Friday. We'll get him. We got a lot of mo. And I want to get to it all. Ben Johnson's coming up tonight, about a half hour from now, on abortion, Obamacare, and the truth. As well as we're going to be talking a little more about Texas and a recent decision in Texas. U.S. Bureau Chief, LifeSite News, Ben Johnson. Right now, 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. How would you fix the system? How would you do it? And you can also respond to the healthcare hearings today. The Sebelius testifying today before the House Energy Committee. Your thoughts on that. In the moments we have before your phone calls, I will give you my take on what's going on. I think there is a real letdown in strategy for conservatives. They should coordinate their questions, they should coordinate their times, and they should make sure that they hit 1, 2, or 3 main points and like a pit bull beyond those. What I see is posturing. I see people actually making substantive points. I would like to see all of that come together in an actual strategy. And the reason I say this is because otherwise you get a clip here and people, funny clips. Oh, let's talk about the Wizard of Oz. And just stop the bunny stew. Let's just stop the nonsense. Stop the madness. Zero in. Mike Rogers had a great exchange today. We have it for you on the flip side of the break about the security elements. Identify what's wrong and why the law is fundamentally flawed. And hit that. Keep hitting it. It's like when you see blood in the ring. What you do is you go in for the rip and kill. I don't understand it. It doesn't take a rip in Einstein. Oh, I'll ask this question. And these are bright folks. A lot of the people in Congress they're bright. And they're not all bad. So the idea of throwing them all out, I've never understood that. Oh, to throw them all out. Really? Because there's some really good folks doing the best job they can. There's just not enough of them. But I digress. How would you fix the healthcare system? How would you do it? You can go on the Facebook page and answer that. You can like the page. I'd love to get up to 5,000. It'd be awesome. Love to get 5,000 likes. Let's begin with Patrick in the great state of North Carolina. Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Tell me, what do you think about first off, your initial response to the testimony today from Sebelius, and then you could tell me how you'd fix healthcare. One thing you'd do.
Well, I watched the entire panel, and it was real interesting how you would have one against and one for, and it was almost like the Democrats was definitely throwing softballs so she can just knock them out of the park. I was very disappointed that it wasn't very unexpected what she was going to say. We knew it was going to be a shield for the White House. And the way I would fix it, for example, is one, go across state lines like you would for mortgages or houses and, stuff like that. And I just want to comment real quickly on just our health insurance with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
We have to meet a $7,500 deductible for instance, I have to have Achilles surgery. In order for insurance to pick up anything, we have to meet a $7,500 deductible and co-insurances and out-of-pocket costs. And that's not working. I mean, it's nothing that is anywhere near working. And, I don't think the government understands that. It's just like car insurance. When you buy car insurance, you can buy this stuff called gap insurance. And what gap insurance is, somebody pays for the gap in between if you wreck your car and what it's worth through the insurance. And the taxpayer is paying the gap insurance with this reformed health care bill. Somebody's paying for it. Simple economics, somebody always has to pay for it. And I'm going to hang up and let you comment. Thank you.
Well, Patrick, a couple things. First, really appreciate your phone call. Appreciate the situation. Anybody who's had that surgery or knows anything about that surgery, that is hard in so many ways, including big time economically. We do need to fix the system, and the best way to do that is to get more of a direct relationship between consumer and provider and with less restrictions. What I don't like is the government's making the case that we're just too stupid to shop for ourselves. And what they're doing is, in fact, they are not incentivizing the idea of buying health insurance. They're compelling people to do it through the law, yes, but incentivizing it through the market, as well as understanding that if you take 1% of the population that is dealing with pre-existing conditions, you don't change the rest for the 99% and the 80% that were somewhat pleased with their health care insurance before. I mean, the way they're doing it and what they're using as a shield to justify it, really, if there was any kind of fairness within the mainstream media, it wouldn't fly because it's absurd. That all said, appreciate your suggestion. Yeah, open it up state lines, buy across state lines. Yes, absolutely. Here we go. We go with Charlie?
Yes.
Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Great to have you, bud. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, man. Hey, tell me, what did you think of the hearings, or the hearing today with Kathleen Sebelius, and how would you fix healthcare?
I tell you what, there's only one way to fix the healthcare system. And it goes back, way back. I would have done so many things different. When Nancy Pelosi said, let's vote this thing through so we can see what's in it, she should have been run out of town on a rail. How in the world can we have elected officials like President Obama, who straight out lies to you nonstop, and get away with it? That shouldn't happen. And to fix the health care, get the government out of it. Health care would take care of itself, but since the government wants to take care of all these deadbeat people who don't work and give them free health care, well, then the rest of us have to, we have to pay the bill. And it's just going to keep getting worse. But what the Obama administration is wanting to do is get everybody onto a single-payer health care system, and then they can say, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Lease, you've worked so many years, and now that you're 65 and retired and you need this health care, we're just going to let you die. You know, that's what's coming. And no one can see it except a few conservative people who are smart enough to understand the system. These left-wing, the liberals, they don't see it, but they're going to be some of the first ones going down the tubes. Mark my word on it.
Well, Charlie, I appreciate your point of view. I would say that, you know, when dealing with people that maybe haven't bought it, are not necessarily deadbeats, There are, and see, this is what happens. I understand your frustration big time. Thank you, Dick Cheney. The reason I understand it is I feel it too. I think it's absurd that somebody could get before the American people as the Speaker of the House at the time and say we need to pass it to find out what's in it, away from the Washington, away from all this. I forgot the exact final piece to that, but it doesn't fix it. It doesn't change it. It's pretty much what it is. And it's a real statement of where we are today. And the idea that what Arnold Allard expressed was incrementalism, and this has been ongoing. And nobody wants to say, hey, we have this problem. It's going to take about 40 years of commitment, because that's what you had from the left. And did they do it dishonestly? Of course they did. Did they do it using class warfare or accusing others if they pointed out something as being racist or something along those lines to silence their opposition? You bet. Did they get people on the public dole and in essence, we saw this on the state level with unions electing their boss? Yeah, we see that. So what is it going to take? Well, it's going to take a movement and consistency and incrementalism to pull them back. Now, that incrementalism could start with repealing Obamacare. It is started in the sense of having new media, alternative media, as it's been called, the original town hall, which is talk radio. And we're seeing other news networks say, hey, we lose viewers if we don't give them the rest of the story. Now, of course, you'll always have the MSNBCs that will be the PR arm of the administration. And think about it, they have Sharpton. I mean, need I say more? Sharpton? When did that become, I mean, click, bye, see ya. Race baiting thug, sorry, can't play the game. Race hustler, bye, ridiculous. So a lot of the things you said there I can relate to. On the deadbeats, not so much, because I realize that we've got to keep looking at American people as individuals. And I know, I recognize how you meant it, and I recognize you weren't speaking to each and every one of them. But now what makes me nervous is we get outraged. Everybody just says the whole system's messed up, and they're counting on that chaos. They're counting on the dismissal of others and the kind of tone of deadbeats versus people who are paying. And what we have to do is we have to really message government and what government is doing and incentivizing. And remember that it's government power exploiting and understanding our fallen nature while denying theirs. Let's keep moving. Charlie, I appreciate your phone call. Honored to listen to the broadcast. Great to be with you. Lance in the great state of Illinois. Because of the people, not the government. Hey, Lance, how are you?
Hey, good, Crane. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Just real quick, as most people know, they pushed this health care bill behind closed doors over Christmas, I think it's 2010 or 11, when everyone was and had things to do. And, of course, President Obama said he was transparent, but he wasn't. And anyway, I would just say this. I don't have any clear solutions because it's such a huge mess. It's just a bias of a mess. We do need to do something with our healthcare system, but I would just recommend one major thing. And that is, actually two things. One is prayer, just like they did the founding of this nation. That was a huge undertaking. And if we look at our early fathers, they prayed. They went to the Senate. They constantly were in prayer. The second thing is to elect godly officials. I mean, if we had godly officials, God-fearing people, then this bill would never have been pushed through the Senate like it was.
Lance, I got to tell you right now, that call to prayer, thank you. And also the foundation of what people believe and what their foundation is. I mean, our founders certainly understood this. That all said, I just want to say thank you, because don't we underestimate God big time? Thank you so much. Remember, God knows you. God loves you right where you're at. Want to make sure we keep speaking truth. We go to Thomas in the great state of Iowa. Thomas, thank you for your patience. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts today?
Well, my thoughts today is, one thing that everybody seems to overlook with this healthcare thing is the way to beat it is to have a better alternative. And if you look at what was done 60 years ago and more, all the hospitals were run as charities by churches. They were a ministry of grace where the church reached out to the world and helped people. If we could provide health care as a religious service to our community, we could end up putting Obamacare out of business because everybody would be in our hospitals. You wouldn't need health insurance anymore. And it'd be a way that we could reach the world just by providing a service. And,
Thomas?
it took us a long way to get there, but, putting our money into that rather than political campaigns, because we're diverting money away from people who want to control us and back to helping others.
Thomas, I think we're on very similar lines when we talk about the Faustian bargain that the government made with us, saying they're going to take over the social safety net, because that was a power grab in essence. And our role in providing the services and doing what we are commanded to do in Scripture for those in need. I appreciate your point. Appreciate you being part of the show. Thank you. Take care. Yeah, a lot more I'd like to say on that, but I see where he's going, and I definitely appreciate the perspective. Thomas, thank you. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth on the flip side. Oh, what was that one thing? The one thing that Arnold Allard spoke of at the end of the last interview? They fired a ton of officers, including 157 Air Force majors in one shot, talking about the purge of the military. Stay tuned, American Family News, and then more truth on the flip side. AFR Talk.